Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alien Wizard Science. My name is Matt Worldly, and we are currently about to sneeze. Nope, never mind, we're good. We are actually recording live from Denver, Colorado, and this just happens to be the greatest city in the entire world. 20 minutes down the street is the world's greatest amphitheater, Red Rocks. Okay? Not only do we have the best amphitheater, but it's just the best city in general. So shout out to Denver, and shout out if you live in Denver, shout out if you represent Denver, shout out if you're a Denver native, and shout out to you if you love Alien Wizard Science, if you love honesty, transparency, emotion, vulnerability, light, if you enjoy experimentation and creativity, then you are in the right place. You have landed, you're a plane, you're a boat, and you've landed. You have docked, and we are here together in this moment to celebrate so many things. And I have a lot to talk to you guys about today. What you just saw, what you're seeing right now on this table, is some rotating glass. And I'm going to slow it down a little bit. It's moving a little bit too fast. I'm going to kill these lights temporarily so that we can just kind of start with this opening thought that I had. You can see the room just got darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to the wall. And you guys are going to see what the result is of this light shining through all this glass. I'm going to show it to you on the wall right now. Here we go. There it is. There you go. I'm going to pull this light back a little bit so you can see I can go to the left. I can go to the right. This is, real life light refraction happening. And frankly, I'm not quite impressed with the quality of this camera. So we're going to switch to the other camera, and then we will go into the opening thought. And then we can continue today's show, whatever it is, this transmission. Okay, so now we are switching to the more high definition camera. Here we go. Here we go. This is better. Now, as you guys watch this beautiful swirling light refraction, I desire to say thank you to all the fathers out there, to all of the fathers on this planet. Whether you completely failed your children or you raised them right and they respect women and they have great jobs and they have children and they love their children and I don't know, the whole spectrum of dads. I just want to say thank you for being a dad, because in this moment I feel like I have to acknowledge that it's not easy to be a dad, to be a mother. But today's transmission is about the father. And the truth is, whether you're a female, a daughter, or a male and a son, I don't think there's any way that we will ever be able to understand the extent of our parents' psychology. You know what I mean? Like, we would literally have to do this crazy background check on them, and then we'd have to give all that information to a fucking psychologist and be like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with my parents and why am I this way, right? That is the extent that we would have to go to in order to truly understand our parents and what makes them tick. So we're going to talk about fathers today. We're going to talk about parents in general. And we're just going to talk about this crazy expectation that we have for ourselves when it comes to our parents And what we're going to do is we're going to set that expectation free, and we're going to live a brand new fucking life. The life that we've always dreamed of, we're going to live that life today, together, in this moment. But before we do, let's shift our attention to this table right here, and let's put something new on the table. And for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Alien Wizard Science. My name is Matt Worldly. This is an art form where we experiment and we create magic with glass, shining light through glass. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to take a random piece of glass. It can't be that heavy because this rotating base is kind of a little bitch. But I'll tell you what, let's see if it can withstand this bad boy right here. Check this out. Check that out. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. What do you guys think about that? Let's check this out. Check this out. I bought this for like, they wanted $200 for it. I said, no thanks. I came back maybe 6 months later, and then they wanted, $150 for it. I said, call this vendor. I need to talk to this vendor. I said, look, I'll give you $100. And they accepted. And here we are today. This is one of my favorite pieces of glass that I own. It reminds me of jellyfish. It is an absolute rarity. It is an absolute antique. And right now you're just seeing it exist in its own world. You're seeing light communicate with itself. You're kind of peering into a dimension where light exists and does its job. What do I mean by that? Light doing its job. Well, we know that there are other dimensions, energies that exist in other dimensions, and it is within my understanding that in these other dimensions, these light energies actually work as sort of servants for us, but in the most respectable way imaginable. I don't mean slaves, I mean servants. For example, if you're a celebrity and you have managers and you have people who do your makeup and you have people who watch over you and you have security, these are people that ultimately are designed to help you succeed. They work for you to help you succeed. And in this dimension, in this physical 3D reality, we are dreamers. And these light entities that you're seeing right now on the wall, perhaps this is their reality. Perhaps we're seeing how they operate to propel us, to protect us, to watch over us, to manifest our own dreams. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But that's how I like to think about this art form. When I shine light through glass and I see this unbelievably recognizable and yet still so complex and unrecognizable art dancing on the wall, I think to myself, I can relate to this because this has something to do with my origin. This is a part of who I am. I know it. I just know that I'm a star child and that this light represents my inner beauty in some form or another. So here we are. Welcome, everybody, to Alien Wizard Science. I just finished watching Kill Tony. It has been an absolute crazy-ass week. My dad came to visit me from Oregon, and I have been looking forward to this trip so much. So that's why this episode is dedicated to the dads. Cheers, dads. Cheers to all your hard work. It is not easy being a dad. So, let me play some music, and I just need to talk to you guys about some serious shit. Okay? I just seriously need to talk to you about some stuff. Okay? All right. Dad, I am sorry. I'm sorry that I was a prick when you were here. Not the whole time, but one time specifically. And we were driving in the car back from Fort Collins, and for the moment I was tailgating somebody, and you said, Matt, stop tailgating this person. And I responded extremely immaturely, and I disrespected you. And I said, don't tell me how to drive. And you're just like, my life is in your hands, like, get real. And still, even though you had a good point, I persisted to pretty much just completely ignore your feelings and everything that you were trying to tell me. And as I got close to other cars, my immaturity persisted, and I would throw up my hands like, uh-oh, hopefully I'm not tailgating this car too closely. And I did that all the way home. And a part of me feels like you just should have fucking clocked me in the face. But you didn't. So thank you for not punching me in the face. And then when we got home, I realized, yeah, I was completely out of line, and I did some sort of an apology. I admitted that I overreacted and that you were just expressing concern. But still, I don't think in the moment I could actually muster up the courage to just say, I'm sorry for being a prick. But I did say that I didn't mean any disrespect, and maybe that was the extent of my apology. But then later on that night, we watched a movie in my laboratory, where we are right now, my incredible laboratory. I'll tell you what, let's do an impromptu tour of the laboratory. Let's just refresh the world on just how magnificent this laboratory actually is. Everybody, welcome to my laboratory. This floor is custom made. I think it was like $15,000. I have just, the most insane collection of glass, some of it very cheap, some of it very expensive. And this is the wall where I project all my art on. This is my mural, that represents everything that I believe as far as aliens and the future of mankind. This is my control station. This is where I make music. This is where I try to just literally channel this message from God into this fucking space, into this moment with all of you. This is what this laboratory represents, and it means the absolute world to me. As a man on this planet who is fortunate enough to not be living in a war-torn country, I have decided to dedicate my life to this laboratory. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. This is literally what I'm putting every last ounce of my soul into, is this laboratory. I am devoted to some extraterrestrial form of life. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm just going off of this feeling. And from this feeling emerges this laboratory, which means everything to me. And after we got home and I was tailgating that person and we got in an argument, when we got home, I said, does everybody feel safe? Does everybody feel safe? I was just being a fucking little prick, a stupid little douchebag. And my dad was like, shut your fucking mouth. I know you're being sarcastic, right? And I knew that I was being sarcastic too. But something inside of me, I just couldn't swallow my fucking pride. What is with us? What is with this dynamic? Whether it's a male or a female thing where we're just like irritated, we just want to be right. and we just think we're better, and we just fucking can't just swallow our pride. What is with that? What is going on? So finally, we moved on. We watched a movie. We ordered a pizza. We had a great time. But then later on, the movie got over, and we were going to watch another movie. My dad took an intermission, and he brought a piece of pizza in my laboratory without a plate or a napkin underneath it, and he just starts eating it. And at this point, I'm just like grinding my teeth because I had a bunch of people in here, for his arrival. We watched UFC, and I had this fucking $300-400 charcuterie spread that I pimped out for everybody. And I told everybody in that moment, I'm like, look, nobody's allowed to eat in here, but this is a special occasion, so do your thing, right? But everybody had plates, right? Everybody had plates. Everybody was extra respectful. Flash forward to one of the last days my dad was here. Now he's in here with a piece of pizza, without a plate. And I know he's getting stuff on my furniture. I know he's getting stuff on the floor. And it's just like boundaries, right? Boundaries. Why is it so hard to practice boundaries sometimes? You ever wonder? You ever wonder that? And I just said, look, can you please not eat that piece of pizza in here? And it all just went to hell. Once I said that, it all just fucking went to hell. And long story short, because this could go on forever, we're already 20 minutes into this bitch. And I have to just there's light at the end of the tunnel. So let me explain. In this stupid rage that we were in, I'm not saying my boundaries are stupid or that his point or his feelings are stupid. It's just like hippopotamuses arguing in the water when they're just like, it's like the human equivalent of what was habiling. So at some point, one of the points that he was trying to make, as I was expressing, just like, why are you eating pizza in here? This is my laboratory. It doesn't matter if we were just eating in here. Just please, this is my house. Please respect my wishes, right? When we're young, when we're growing up, and our parents are like, get a plate. Don't eat that food in the living room without a plate. You're going to make a mess. I mean, here I am talking to my dad as if he's a fucking kid, but I'm getting shit for it. And then all of a sudden he decides to say, Matthew, this laboratory is nothing. This laboratory is nothing. I am your father. I am your father, Matthew. I am a human being, a physical thing. This is just material. Matthew, this is just material. This means nothing. And in that moment, of course, I was absolutely furious. But at the same time, I was extremely liberated. I was quite literally liberated because this part of me, this part that exists within all of us that is constantly trying to impress our parents, was just confronted with the truth. The truth, which is not bad, which is not good, it is just the truth. And the truth is, as I mentioned earlier, we cannot understand the depths of our parents' psychology. We cannot internalize it. But instead, what we have to do is just appreciate every opportunity that reveals itself to us, where we can say, oh my God, wait a minute, this life doesn't revolve around me trying to impress my parents, trying to impress my wife, my brother, my colleagues, my coworkers, my dogs. We are not here to live to impress anybody other than ourselves. And in that moment, I thought, thank you. Thank you for saying that out loud. I mean, obviously, I know that he doesn't think that my laboratory is nothing, okay? I'm not here to be the victim and cry. I'm just here to say that I was able to catch a glimpse at just kind of my dad's world, right? And my dad's world, our dad's world, I'm talking to you because we all have a dad. Our mom's world is just so much different than we will ever be able to comprehend. We will never be able to comprehend our parents' world. We will never be able to make them understand how outstanding we are. And don't take that in this way where you're like, well, wait, what? Listen, our experience in life is not the same as our parents' experience. We have completely different experiences. So why should our parents be able to understand the extent of our experience from the perspective of their own experience? It's impossible. And when my dad said this laboratory means nothing, I don't take that as he's not proud of me. I don't take that as, oh my God, I've worked so hard for this, I've made so much money, and now I've completely failed. I don't take it that way at all. I say, oh my God, I get it. I felt this part of me just kind of dissipate and turn into mist. And it was like blowing off steam. This version of ourselves that is just trying to impress our parents, that just, can only base success on our parents' approval. We have to hug this version of ourselves and then just boom, let that little bitch go. Because trust me, it's not productive. It's not productive. So, in this moment, I'm just here to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry I was a dick. And your response was probably just to that earlier, and we're just here, we're just human. And I want to say that this whole mentality of he's right, and I'm wrong, or I'm wrong and he's right, and then we can't reach any other outcome besides that. That's why there's war in the world right now, because people think that they're right, because Benjamin Netanyahu has got a bone to pick. Who literally, I don't want to pretend for 1 second that I know what's going on with that. But when we cut each other off, when we don't talk to each other, if I were to make the decision to never talk to my dad again, that would literally be contributing to what influences warfare. Cutting people off, not being able to talk to them, and just bombing them. And bombing them would be like a metaphor for cutting them completely out of your life. Saying, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, Dad. I'm not going to talk to you anymore, Mom, Uncle, Grandma, best friend. But it's so important that during these insane times that we don't internalize what other people are going through, because we ourselves are going through so much that we have to have compassion, and we have to hold space, and we have to have humility for other people's experience. What I realized recently, just thinking about how we are more alike than we are not alike, I started to think, on a scale, each of us probably have 70 to 75% in common versus the other 25% not in common. And yet we are so willing to cut people off or judge people based on that 25% of what we don't relate to, but the other 75% we do relate to. We are neighbors, we are a family, we are relatives, we share the same experiences. And when we cut people off, then we are we're just hypocrites. We're hypocrites because we say this person's experience is different than mine, but when we put things on a scale, we're all going through the same thing. We are all under the same rule. We are all under the same thumb of this insane oligarchy, this pedophile ring, this insanely political government crap. We're all under the thumb of that. And that's where we all have to come together. That's what we all have to relate to. We all have to say, we need to put our differences aside and come together, because the puppet masters clearly desire for the world to go in this direction. But when we come together, we play tug of war and we say, no, the world goes in this direction. The world goes in the direction of peace and harmony and happiness and equality and unity and creativity and free speech and artistic expression and vulnerability. We have that superpower. That is our superpower. This revolution that we're about to face is nothing to be afraid of, because we, as creative spirits, have a superpower, and that superpower is self-expression. Whether you are expressing emotional vulnerability, whether you are expressing ingeniality, whether you are expressing the darkest depths of your soul and you are bleeding on stage in front of everybody, the world is going to prosper through relation. When we relate to each other, then we join, we become stronger, we are less divisive, and we are more in tune with the fact that most of us are on the same page. But we've been tricked into thinking that we are on different pages. Love thy neighbor. Before I switch into some music stuff, we're gonna just chill for a minute. I don't know if I finished the story, but my dad had the pizza. He ate the pizza. I said, "Can you not eat the pizza in here?" He flipped out. He said, "This laboratory is nothing." And then, unfortunately, the next day he left early for the airport. We haven't talked to each other since. He sent me a text message tonight, and we're going to read it together on this show. We're going to read it live. I have no idea what it says. I can't believe that I just admitted that on camera, because now I actually have to read the fucking thing, because we're 31 minutes into this goddamn episode, this transmission. So now I actually have to read it. But I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are being tested. We are being tested. And this is an opportune time to swallow pride and to reach out to people you love no matter what, no matter how much they hurt your feelings, no matter how much they don't agree with your political opinions, no matter how much they don't like your new tattoos and nose rings. We have got to just be like, I'm here on this planet. I've got one shot and one shot only. One shot at this life. God only knows what happens when I die. We've got one shot at this life. And while we're here, let's get along with each other. Okay? All right. I'm going to leave it at that. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some more shit. Much love. Welcome back, everybody. Just wanted to ground the ground beef, just ground the ground beef into the ground so that we could be a little bit more grounded in this moment. Shout out to ground beef. And again, shout out to all the dads in the world. Thank you, dads. Thank you, dads. God only knows what you're going through. I never meant to internalize anything. I never meant to be a dick to you. God only knows I'm just a spitting image of you. I'm just trying my absolute best. I didn't mean any disrespect, Dad. So, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit and talk to you guys about something that happened recently. First of all, shout out to Brewhouse Brewing out of Portland, Oregon, and shout out to Cerebral Brewing in Denver, Colorado, because they collaborated and they made this beer called From Far Below, and it's not bad. You know, it's not the best, but it's not bad. It's a little bit too overcooked. The back end is, you know, not something that probably most people desire in a beer as far as taste goes, but it's the effort that matters. You know, when you have a brand and you want to keep your unique touch and flavor to your brand, you stop at nothing, you know, and you know, sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed, sometimes you're like right in the middle. That's this beer. It's right in the middle, okay? Anyway, I'm wearing this hat again for like the third time in a row during this, and I'm doing it for a really good reason. I'm doing it because I hope that we can all agree that At one point in time, there was this man named JFK, and he was assassinated. And before he was assassinated, he said a lot of things, like, things are not what they are perceived as. There's a lot going on. There are secret societies and whatnot. And then boom, the next day he gets offed, okay? That generation is going through what we're going through, what we're going through right now with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. There's a lot of speculation about what happened, but if we were to flash forward 25 years from now, 40 years from now, 60 years from now, Jesus fucking Christ, we would probably see something similar to the JFK assassination as far as what actually happened. There are plenty of people that probably denied when that happened that it was some sort of an inside job, that it was not a furry, or that it was in fact a gay trans furry that killed JFK. Some people probably believed that. And then some of them probably lived long enough to read that in fact the vice president had JFK killed so that the vice president could take his spot. Now, that information was released years later. So please, I'm begging you in some form or another, consider that that is happening right now with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Please consider that this man was speaking out against the corruption that plays in the background of our lives 24/7, and he was starting to learn about it. His heart was in a good place, and he wanted to believe that it was all good, but the truth was prevailing, and he started to speak out on it, and as a result, they fucking took him out. They took him out. If that is not obvious to you, if that is not evident right now, then I absolutely pray for you. But please understand that that whole JFK thing, that's the whole point that I'm trying to make right now. We are currently living in that same JFK situation where 30 or 40, you know what, fuck it. Let's just say 2 weeks. Let's hope for 1 year, 2 years from now. The people, love wins, God wins, and the evil is exposed, and we find out all the details about the Charlie Kirk assassination. That would be amazing, right? But who knows? It might be like the JFK assassination. It might take 40 or 50 years, however the fuck long it took. But I'm wearing this Charlie Kirk hat because a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how some crazy bitch started arguing with me about Charlie Kirk, couldn't believe that I went to his funeral in Arizona, said, oh my God, I can't believe you supported that man. He said this, he said that, so that means that you believe this and that you're him and you're that. And I'm just like, oh my God, but I took the bait. I was at work, I should not have taken the bait, but I never get to talk to people about this kind of shit. So I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, why not? So she started going on and on and on about how I'm this. She can't believe how I supported Charlie Kirk. I said, look, you can't frame the entirety of my personality around this hat, Just because I wear this hat doesn't mean that if I had a daughter and if she got raped and got pregnant that I would want her to keep the baby. Yeah, Charlie Kirk said that, but I would never say that. Charlie Kirk says Jesus saves. I would never say that. That's some weird occult shit. But I'll wear this hat because it represents freedom. It represents America. It represents free speech. It represents what this country was built on. It represents Charlie Kirk's fearlessness and courageousness to just speak his mind and speak his faith. Even if I don't believe with his faith, I still respect his ability to just say what he believes. He has that right in America to do that. And when I see him assassinated, that makes me fear for America. That makes me fear for artists, for creatives, for people who thrive and want to share their voices with the world in hopes that they can change the world. That makes me fear for myself and for alike people who desire to change the world. People who desire to change the world need a platform to speak their mind, right? if they don't have a platform to speak their mind, because every time they step on a platform, they're assassinated, that is not a good look for artists. That is not a good look for the world. I wear this hat because it reminds me to speak my mind. As a matter of fact, if Charlie Kirk wasn't assassinated, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't even be standing here right now. But because this man was just like, boom, 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 here's what I believe, fuck you, here's what I believe, fact check, whatever, I'm just like, wow, that's a badass American dude, right? And this bitch at the bar who was bothering me, I said, you know what? You can't escape evil. I said, do you have a cell phone? She said, yes, I've got a cell phone. I'm just like, okay, well, guess what? Your cell phone was mined for cobalt by kids and people who are underpaid, people paid in pennies. So you're evil because you have a cell phone. That's like literally what we're trying to do to each other with this whole like cancel thing and like framing people's personalities around one little aspect of their belief systems. I said, the clothes you wear, probably made by underpaid Chinese slaves, right? Let's see, the food you eat, animals atrociously slaughtered, abused so that you could enjoy your 5 to 10 minute meal at Applebee's. I mean, we're literally surrounded. We're literally swimming in propaganda. We're literally swimming in evil. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say earlier about how we're all 75%. We're not all 25%. We're more 75% than we are 25%. 75%. We're all swimming in this cesspool of fucking evil propaganda that we've been fed, and it just seems like we can't escape it. 25%, our opinions and disagreements and things that we, politics and stuff. But under a microscope, we are literally just all the same people, waking up in the morning, jerking off, taking a shit, meditating, whatever our fucking daily routine is. We're just trying to do our fucking best. And we do not deserve to be yelled at or talked down to because of our political beliefs. We deserve to be respected and related to. Again, relation. That is the key to the prosperity in this present moment. Relating to each other. We relate to each other. We are all under the same thumb of this vicious, evil empire. And we have to, all together, push back. Push back. Push back. Yeah. Okay? Jesus Christ. All right, let me continue here. This person who was talking the shit to me at the bar then told one of my coworkers that, I was a Trumper, a Trump supporter, and then they flipped me off the next day and said they don't want to talk to me anymore, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh my God, here we are. Cancel culture, framing people's entire persona over one aspect of their personality or belief. But it doesn't make sense. This person didn't talk to me for a couple weeks. Then, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This person sat down next to me at the fire, and they apologized profusely. They apologized profusely. They just couldn't stop saying sorry. They said, Matt Worldly, you have always been so good to me. You have always just been so nice. I've never had any problems with you ever, and I just completely treated you like shit, and I'm so sorry, and you did not deserve that. And sometimes I just get so upset, and I just can't control my anger, and you just we've just been friends for so long, and you just didn't deserve that. And all I could say was like, it's all good. Water under the bridge, it never happened. How many of us would love to just be like, nana nana boo boo, told you so? How many of us would like to be like, yeah, bitch? Like, no. In this time, we have to skip all that and just be like, water under the bridge. Here's what I told her. I said, right now, shit's crazy. We're going through some crazy shit, okay? We're all in this together. We're all being tricked. We're all being brainwashed. And we have to work through this, so I forgive you. Don't even worry about it. And now we're back on the same page. And you know what's beautiful? is that happened after the day my dad left, or maybe the same exact day my dad left, where I was kind of hoping he would apologize to me. Maybe he'd call me, or maybe the next day we'd wake up and he'd say, hey, sorry, I was eating pizza, greasy ass pizza on your $15,000 fucking floor without a goddamn plate, and I couldn't just fess up and say that I'm sorry. I didn't need that apology from him, but I was kind of hoping that it would be there, but it never came, right? But instead, an apology that I was technically owed. I'm not trying to ride that train of like, this is what I was owed. I'm trying to ride the train of, I believe the world is like coming together, coming around, and starting to see all this facade, all this bullshit, right? Because somebody who treated me like absolute dog shit 2 weeks ago came around that night my dad left town and said, I am fucking sorry. And they couldn't stop apologizing. And I said, I'm just like, yes, like there's faith. Like I just knew in that moment that it was this beautiful splash, this ripple in time where mankind is just, I really hope that this is the case, but mankind is just starting to wake up and just be like, no, this isn't about me versus them. This is about us versus these fucking elite oligarchy fucking, I mean, why does it feel like a conspiracy all of a sudden, even though that it's now blatantly, obviously the truth? Why does it still feel like a conspiracy, or like people are going to have a hard time wrapping their head around what I'm trying to say if I say this pedophile ring that is running the United States of America, that is running the world? This is the actual truth right now, which is why we are time traveling and we are being catapulted into a new dimension of unity, because it's no longer about pronouns or Olympics or Republican or Democrat or Roe versus Wade or black versus white or BLM or anything. It is now about us versus the fucking rich, disgusting pedophiles. We are in the presence of a revolution. And I cannot stress that enough right now. And the reason why I wear this hat is to remind all of you that your voice is literally the most valuable weapon, the most valuable tool that you have during this time. We must use our voices to unite and not divide, especially during these times. When I say speak your truth in these little writings that I do on Facebook and whatnot, I don't mean speak your truth about who you think is the best president, because we're past that now. I don't mean to speak your truth about why pronouns are important and misgendering people is offensive. Please recognize like what has been put in our brain versus what just feels right in our heart. Okay? No matter what your gender political belief is, if you recognize that there is some nasty shit happening in the world right now, speak out against it. Recognize the source of it, where it all stems from, and then do not support that source. Okay? If it's government, then do not support the government. If it's job related, don't support that job. If it's ad related, don't support that ad. Anything that we can do as a society, culture, and civilization to boycott stuff, that is how we win. We win through boycotting these corporations, because that's where all their money comes from. All the evil shit that they do, they use the money that we give them to. That's what they do it with the money that we give them, right? I mean, I heard that our tax dollars are paying for bombs in Iran and bombs in Gaza. Is that true? I'm pretty sure that's true. So, do you want to keep paying for that? Come on, that's what I'm saying. Like in these trying times, you're just gonna have to do the obvious, right? It might like go against the man, go against the system, but that's okay. Charlie Kirk was going against the system, and he was one person, and they took him out. If we all go against the system, and we unify. They cannot take all of us out. They cannot. I talked to my friend on the phone today about the situation with my dad. Before I end this transmission, this is a very talkative transmission. I hope this shit resonates with some of you. I hope it reaches you. I hope I'm not blabbering on and just stroking my ego in these videos. I really hope that these are helpful in some form or another. But I have to, read some stuff. As I'm telling my friend about what happened with my dad, this was his response. He says, an opportunity to learn from their experience. So let me reflect on this. When my dad was here, I turned on something I wanted him to see, something that I was very proud of. And as soon as I did, he made a phone call to my grandpa. So instead of watching the video that I turned on for him, he talked on FaceTime with my grandpa. And when he did, he showed my grandpa what I was, he essentially filmed the TV screen so my grandpa could see what he was watching. But then they just talked for probably 25 minutes or something instead of watching my video. Now, if I was this child that was like, see me, see me, see me, am I good enough yet? Can you see me? Am I successful? Am I impressing you? Then I would interpret that as, you're just ignoring me. I turned something on for you, and now you're ignoring me, right? But if I were to interpret it another way, a deeper way, maybe I would say, oh shit, my dad is impressed with what I'm doing, so he wants to show his dad what he made, because what he made created what he was showing my grandpa. If that doesn't make sense to you, I'll repeat it again. I turned on a video for my dad, and then my dad called my grandpa and showed him the video. I could interpret that as, Dad, you're not paying full attention to my fucking video, or I could interpret that as maybe some deep fucking psychological shit, and I could be like, whoa, my dad's like, oh my God, this is so amazing that I have to call my dad to show him, to validate that I am successful because I created this child, and this child created this beautiful art. It is under my expectation that my dad would completely understand my creative process, that everything is recorded on the fly, and that I'm controlling the camera with my fucking finger, and I'm controlling the light manually with the music, and like, why is he responsible for understanding all of this? Why is he responsible for being blown away by it? That is this expectation that we all put on our own parents. Dad, mom, whatever, you need to understand my passion to the extent that I understand it, or else I'm not worthy enough, or else you just don't get me, or you're not paying enough attention to me. That paradigm has to end right now, because if we are still harnessing that type of energy, moving into this crazy war that we're going into, moving into whatever reality we're about to shift into, then we are not in control, we are not sovereign, and we are not independent. We are still searching for validation to impress an external source instead of the internal source, which is our heart, which is our mind, which is our soul. This is what we must go. This is how we must travel. We must travel to the ends of the earth, not to impress anyone else but ourselves. Because in the end, we are the only person that will truly understand the extent of our ingeniality and our potential. Nobody else is ever going to truly understand that. And it is not our duty to internalize that with expectation. Okay? So, my friend Yule also said, they don't fully grasp the extent of the details. I just touched on that. The disconnect between the artist and the parent. I just touched on that. If you're an artist, especially an artist, There are people who grow up with enriched families, and then the fucking prissy young boy wants to grow up and be a successful businessman to impress his daddy, right? That's one dynamic. Another dynamic is the artist dynamic, which is what I'll say now. Like all artists, whether you're a painter, a sculptor, a musician, whatever, I think we all want to show our peers, our parents, what we've created, and we desire for their approval. And through that, it makes us feel complete and whole. But, this is not going to happen. I think I already said that. Moving on. All right.